With a $1,400 medical bill after he took his daughter to what he thought was an urgent care facility in Bee Cave.
So he called our KXAN Investigates tip line, and we found out not all urgent care centers are the same. Tonight, Robert Maxwell clears up what could be costly confusion.
They seem to be popping up all over. Urgent care centers, some independent, others connected with hospitals. If it's not a true emergency, they're a place to see a doctor quickly, no fuss. Scott Stevens' daughter complained of a sore throat and fever one afternoon last October after he picked her up from a soccer game in Bee Cave. He did what any attentive parent would do and brought her to the nearby urgent care.
They gave her a blood pressure check, and they looked down her throat, and then ultimately wrote her a prescription, and we left.
Except that this place is not an urgent care.
The total bill came to almost $1,400.
For 12 minutes, sir.
For 12 minutes.
Stevens says as he signed a clipboard of paperwork, he scanned past wording that indicated he was at an emergency room and could be billed appropriately. But his version of what was appropriate was more like a $20 insurance copay.
I had no intentions of taking my daughter to a hospital.
We go through great pains, like right at the very front, to say this is an emergency department. Unfortunately, sometimes that message doesn't always reach everybody.
We contacted the Texas Department of Insurance and learned about recent medical billing legislation that's supposed to clarify all this for consumers. Spokesman John Greeley told KXAN TDI has adopted rules that require disclosure to consumers at the time of service, that insurance policy coverage for the facility and for the physicians operating at those facilities may vary. Unfortunately for Stevens, there was this urgent care open just 2 miles up the road. But unlike these new standalone ERs, urgent care clinics are normally not open 24/7 and don't have the same level of diagnostic tools like CT scans or highly trained staff such as trauma nurses on duty. In the end, Stephen got caught in admitting rules that come from the state.
And we're told there's a fundamental difference between an urgent care center and this, an emergency center. Once you come through those doors and agree to be seen by the doctors, state law dictates they have to actually treat you first and then talk financials later.
So informing the patient of the billing side of things happens after the clinical process.
St. David Senior VP Mark Clayton says the state rules are a way to prevent scaring away a potentially critically ill person with talk about payment options. But he says the patient can always ask questions at any point.
And so the patient, what may be an emergency to you may not be an emergency to me. So it's always important for a patient to use their best judgment.
I know definitely from now on that no matter where I am, to be more diligent in understanding what type of a facility I'm in before I take my daughter.
Now, St. David's Emergency Center in Bee Cave is one of 3 in our region that St. David's Healthcare operates. By the way, they offered Stevens a discount of $130 off his out-of-pocket bill after he made an appeal. That's once his insurance company agreed to pick up about half that total. Now, for web links on what to do if you feel you're being billed unfairly at a Texas medical facility, or if you have a complaint with the treatment you received, you can check on the story at KXAN.com now.
Robert.